Great Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We had Turkey 12 this year, so Amazon's extended sales. So we saw pretty strong results across that period, which was exciting. Some brands didn't see big lifts, but those brands either weren't able to leverage.
There is a big, bright red Black Friday deal badge that a listing gets when it is properly discounted for Black Friday. That badge switches to a Cyber Monday deal badge as soon as Saturday morning hits. Getting those badges is the entire tentpole event winner.
We had multiple clients up over 100% year over year, one client up 246% year over year. We had another brand that doubled their previous best day in revenue twice over the period, which was pretty fun.
If you haven't yet used Motion, the creative analytics platform used by top e-com and D2C brands like Fiori, True Classic, The Farmer's Dog, Hexclad, and hundreds more to ship winning ads, here's why you should try it out. Everyone knows that the right creative is the number one lever for success with paid ads. That's how you make money. But consistently shipping new winning creative, you're gonna need your media buyers and your creative teams on the same page. Right now, you're probably spending hours tiring away going back and forth between Google Sheets and your ad platforms and tools, and then spending even more time plugging it all into different decks for the rest of your team. In a perfect world, you could have an elegant way to combine visual assets and performance data so media buyers can save time and creative teams can get the details they need to make great ads all in one place. And that's where Motion comes in. In seconds, you can build powerful visual reports using data from your ad accounts. You can monitor your performance metrics and see your visual assets in the same platform. No need to go back and forth across multiple apps. You'll finally have media buyers and creative teams working together to create and scale your next big winner. If you're ready to learn how the best D2C and e-commerce brands use Motion to ship winning Meta, TikTok, and YouTube ads, book a demo today or start a free trial at motionapp.com/DTC. Even better, Motion offers a monthly subscription plan so you can dodge those annoying annual contracts. Get 50% off your first month when you use the link motionapp.com/DTC on sign up. Happy New Year! It's all killer, no filler. The D2C podcast. I'm Eric, and I'm back with our first podcast of the year. I think is Friday, January the 3rd, 2025. We're in the future. Right now, it's December 16th, but I'm going away home for the holidays on the 17th. So we're pre-recording now. I don't even really know what we're talking about. I know it's going to be Amazon. I know it's going to be amazing. Who's going to start us off?
Yeah. So, this is the first time we're talking again since pre-Black Friday. I think the last time we talked was we were just in the lead up. So we could do a quick summary of sort of like Black Friday results, and then shift into what worked and what didn't, which would be applicable to kind of sale days coming up in the new year here. And then was going to talk Q5, but Q5 is going to have already happened. So maybe we focus on Q1 then.
Cool. Well, dive in.
Clever, do you want to kick off Black Friday? You want me to dive in first?
High level. What's our vibes on Black Friday?
I think I'll let Rob talk about some of our successes and failures, and I'll kind of dig into what drove it.
Yeah, high level, great period. Great Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We had Turkey 12 this year, so Amazon's extended sales.
I recall.
So we
T12.
T12,
even.
Yeah, good old T12. So we saw pretty strong results across that period, which was exciting. Some brands didn't see big lifts, but those brands either weren't able to leverage discounting to their full ability, and maybe it was inventory constraints. So to the best of their ability, we did what we could. But for the most part, brands that were able to take advantage of the deals and run for that period saw really strong results. We had multiple clients up over 100% year over year, one client up 246% year over year. We had another brand that doubled their previous best day in revenue twice over the period, which was pretty fun. Yeah, so strong results.
Were there any brands that didn't pop, and what was the reason for that?
Yeah, there was two that didn't, and they were constrained going into it with regards to. We actually started in November with those brands, so there was some issues in terms of being eligible for discounts, like products being restricted for discounts that due to seller feedback ratings or I forget what the second one was, but our hands were essentially tied from a what we could do aspect. So we lent into different deal types and pushed ads as much as we could, but having just kicked off in November, we couldn't really leverage it to the full potential. Still.
Start early, folks.
Yeah.
Join Pilot House early, right? Clifford, what are your keen observations?
Yeah, the biggest is there is a big, bright red Black Friday deal badge that a listing gets when it is properly discounted for Black Friday, or for T12 in this case. That badge switches to a Cyber Monday deal badge as soon as Saturday morning hits. But it has to be done properly. And what I mean by that is there is a lot of ways to put your product on sale on Amazon. You can just go into an individual listing and you can change the price. You can put it in as there's like a your price section, which is the typical just how you set your price. There's a sale price section in your listing where you could just do a sale price. You could have that time limited. You can run coupons. You can run promotions, these are all different things inside Amazon. So I'm using the very specific terminology that Amazon uses. You can use promotions, which is like buy one, get one, 20% off type of thing, or coupon codes in promotions as well. You can run deals, which are specifically paid promotions through Amazon, where your product is on deal for possibly the entirety of T12, or a lightning deal where it's only on deal for like a 12-hour window somewhere within T12, and they choose that window. Or you run a Prime exclusive discount, which is a discount specifically only for Prime members, usually has, again, some minimums around it. Each of these have certain different minimums around them, except sale price. You can do whatever you want to your product. So all that to say, only some of those give you those badges that give you the Black Friday deal badge or the Cyber Monday deal badge, and specifically two. So deals themselves, so those ones that you pay Amazon for, and you pay them more on event days. I think it was up to $1,000 if you wanted to run the full T12 deal, and only a certain amount of products within each category are eligible for deals. So typically you kind of have to be a top seller within your category to be able to be one that's eligible for the full T12 deal thing. I think we had one or two brands that were eligible for the full T12 deal in that. Those get a ton of attention. They get you on special deal pages. They're fantastic. If you're eligible, those are almost always worth running. Then there's lightning deals. Those are open to a few more brands. Again, you schedule, all these have to be scheduled like months ahead of time. It's like 2 months before the deadlines for these. They're a little bit cheaper, but they only run for 12 hours. They also give you the badge, but again, only for 12 hours. Then there's everyone else who you're not eligible for those deals, or you want to run something for the full 12 days. That's when you run your Prime exclusive discount. Prime exclusive discounts have their own requirements. Typically, it's about 20% off. It's a very standard Amazon number. It seems to be the case for almost every big tentpole event that they run. But you have to schedule those. You can schedule them literally the day of. Doesn't really matter, but you have to specifically go in the Prime exclusive discount portal in there, click the button that says for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I'm very explicit about this because you would be shocked by how many brands we see around us that are on sale, but they don't have the badge on these days because they ran their sale wrong. And then you literally get filtered out of search results, or people just don't look at your stuff because you don't have the big Black Friday deal badge. So literally go into the Prime exclusive discounts tab, check the box that says for Black Friday or for Cyber Monday or for all of T12, put in your products, and then after you do it, it tells you if it's going to run. It'll say like suppressed, or there's some error, or if it's scheduled and it's going to run. Like, give it a minute, refresh it 24 hours later or whatever. If you're scheduling ahead of time, make sure it all looks good, and then it'll run. It's fine. And if something goes wrong day of, you can go in there and fix things usually. But getting those badges and not is the entire like tentpole event.
I believe it.
If you don't have them, you're like, literally, it's like probably cut your spend, like barely advertise, because you're going to get slaughtered because everyone around you is going to have that badge.
And people just visually filter by that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the brands that you were fully loaded up for, loaded to bear with the proper deals and the right runway and everything, those ones saw exponential benefit from having the badge, from being placed favorably in Amazon's algorithm.
Yeah, it is night and day difference of, especially with the way this worked, where it was the 12 days, so it was like a week and a day earlier than Black Friday. That first day of T12, big spike in sales for a lot of brands. Not as big as Black Friday typically is, of course, but a big spike in sales for all the brands that had that badge that day. And the brands that didn't, it looked like the day before, if not even worse than the day before, depending on the brand.
But your costs are so far up, so much more competition in the space.
Yeah, so exactly. Yeah, cost per clicks are so much higher, especially like bidding against Amazon inside the ad side has a suggested bid for events. And if you, I don't know how many people are doing this, we don't do it, but if competing advertisers are allowing Amazon to just up your bid for the holiday, which is an option, then cost per clicks will rise substantially as soon as that deal goes live, because Amazon will rise those prices immediately.
That section is called Bezos Take the Wheel when you allow them.
Literally.
That's what we might call this podcast, Bezos Take the Wheel. Or you do need the stinking badges. That we might call it that as well. Okay, so we sounds like it crushed. Anything else on Black Friday, or we want to move into Happy New Year and New Year, New You on Amazon?
I think that covers Black Friday.
Okay.
Excited to see what happens next year, of course, and just kind of use these learnings for that.
For Prime Day, I was just looking. Prime Day's in July. Looks like July 23rd is what they're estimating based on the constellations.
It's the current guess. Yeah, very good.
ChatGPT wins again.
Nice. So I mean, maybe chat briefly, like just like Christmas campaigns, because maybe you're kind of reflecting on how that went, and for your brands. Right now, we're just really focused on like watching for that arrives before Christmas badge on our listings, changing to like delivers after Christmas. Amazon's very prominent about that. So this time of year, with all the gifting going on, we're just making sure that paying attention to that for all our brands. And when it switches, being sure to be quick on adjusting ad campaigns where necessary. So reducing bids, budgets, understanding like the sales drop off, just because we don't want to spend unnecessary money there once people kind of stop shopping. Then the same goes for like Q5 period. This is a time where people are at home shopping. It's not as big of a push on Amazon as it might be for other channels. That said, important to monitor that period, because you might see an uptick of sales happen or purchases. So just being mindful of your campaigns and not just like letting Bezos take the wheel from like the 21st through to the new year. Like pay attention. Like there's probably some opportunity there if you're in there adjusting and making changes versus everyone else is kind of letting Bezos take the wheel.
There's a lot of people scrolling around their families, probably. I'm going to try to put my phone away this year on a personal note. We'll see if that works. But so there's that opportunity there.
Yeah. And it's also just an opportunity to make sure you stay efficient, because there might be maybe you forgot to cut some things going into Christmas and they're now overspending. Like we just want to be mindful that it's a time where things can easily get missed if you're not paying attention. So definitely get in there and make sure someone's paying attention to it at least.
Especially a lot of Amazon advertising happens through automated software that controls a lot of the bidding. Like I would say probably 40-50% of the website's ads that are there are being controlled by some sort of automated bidding. We use some automated bidding as well. A lot of manual intervention, but still some automated bidding. And keeping in mind that automation does a really bad job of handling this type of switch off, where you have huge conversion rates, very strong results for weeks in the beginning of December, and then suddenly really bad, because automation is going to look at those past 2-3 weeks and it's going to be raising your bids and continually raising things. And it's the worst decision you could be making on, December 27th is probably not a great time to be drastically raising your bid above where it was on December 12th because it's looking at past performance to drive those bid increases. And most bidding software, if not all bidding software, is going to work on some sort of 7-day, 14-day, 30-day window. And it's going to look back at that very favorably. So it's not a lot of those are not quick to adjust. You have to be a lot of manual intervention to happen. Basically, as Rob said, right as you get that arrives after Christmas, it's like it's time to butcher some bids.
Nice. And then into is there anything new year, new you that you guys sort of take advantage of in the new year for beat the January blahs?
Primarily, I would say from a content perspective. So for products that align to that sort of like new year, new you, like health aspect. So in the supplement world or fitness space, there's an opportunity to, whether it's listing images, A+ content, targeting some sponsored brand headlines or imagery towards that sort of angle. I would say that's the biggest opportunity. You're going to see brands in the space probably get traffic increase, so then competition is going to increase because bids will go up. More people are kind of getting aggressive after it. But primarily, I would say content perspective. I don't know if Clifford got anything to add.
If you compare it to like obviously January is a big gym membership month. It's not too different in the supplement space where we definitely see that. I don't know if we've historically seen CPCs get that much larger in this space, but there is some very clear, like more aggressive advertising that happens around supplements or healthier products and whatnot in January because there is such a huge pool of new customer acquisition to grab. And of course, a lot of people's budgets are resetting at the beginning of the year. Like now's the time to spend to grab those new customers who could be subscribers for the rest of the year. And so there's like a lot of competition for products that are get someone in the first time and they'll subscribe for the rest of the year type of thing. Most of that's supplements, but that can even get into like a lot of different products with accessories and things like that.
That's a really good point. Which just reminded me of, like, we're managing a fairly prominent non-alcoholic drink brand this year, and the expectation, at least my expectation, is we're going to see a spike in that in January, because it's like generally like dry January, people trying to take a month off, especially after the holidays. So if we see a spike there and lean into subscriptions, then potentially we can actually like have a fairly large recognized revenue over the year from just an acquisition in like Q1 by leveraging that sort of dual opportunity there. So really curious to see how that plays out this year.
Super cool. Speaking of letting Bezos take the wheel, I was talking with my favorite brand, BioSteel, Dan Crosby, who's going to be one of our first episodes of the new year. As well, and he explained to me about how he's in their vendor program, and I haven't, we obviously if they're working with Pilot House, they're not in the vendor program because that's the program where they basically buy it from you and take over every aspect of the listing and the distribution. Sort of like you guys probably don't like the vendor program because it takes away clients.
No, we manage vendor brands.
Oh, you man vendor? Explain how that works.
Yeah, so vendor is kind of like a grocery store. So the Amazon buys your inventory, but you're still have control over your listing from a creative perspective. You're still responsible for advertising.
Is there a program above vendor where you're not responsible for advertising?
No, not to my knowledge.
Oh, interesting. Okay, maybe I misunderstood.
Yeah, so you don't have to advertise, but if you spend on advertising, then you drive sales, and then Amazon orders more POs. So you're trying to just continue to get Amazon to buy inventory. So similar as a grocery store is like a grocery store can just buy stuff, but if you want to fund a promotion or get an end cap or pay for a particular placement, like that's the relationship with Amazon in the vendor side.
Nice. No, nothing else Bezos on the news. I guess we mentioned him and Lord Bezos enough times today. I heard some hot take in that he might take the reins back in 2025.
I think people want him to because. So there's always a lot of seller animosity towards Amazon because Amazon very heavily puts customer first. I'll say that lightly. A big topic that comes up all the time is Amazon's pricing policy thing, where they have to be the lowest price on the internet, and if they're not, they will take away your buy box. We've talked about it, I think, on the podcast before. But that causes a lot of sellers to then need to raise their prices on other sites so that Amazon can continue to be the lowest. So there is an argument that it actually hurts the customers in the long run because, yes, Amazon's the lowest, but now they have to raise prices across the board to maintain Amazon being that low because they'd rather price Amazon a little bit higher to make up for fees and whatnot. And so a lot of people think that should be not allowed. And there's a lot of animosity towards Amazon for that exact policy.
Which is, interesting from the consumer perspective. You can almost, just based on the hold that Amazon has on a consumer, both from a trust standpoint, an easy return standpoint, a fast delivery standpoint, you're almost willing to pay a premium for that. Like if it's a 10, 15% difference on a lower price product, maybe from a consumer, you're like, hey, I'd rather just buy it from Amazon. It's so easy and it's free shipping that would be fine. But Amazon doesn't want to do that because they're like, no, we have to be like the lowest price.
And from an Amazon perspective as well, they sell so much of every item that it doesn't really matter. Like in your BioSteel example, if BioSteel is cheaper on their own website than they are in Amazon, Amazon takes away their buy box. In Amazon's eyes, if someone searches BioSteel, they'll just buy one of BioSteel's competitors from Amazon if BioSteel doesn't have the buy box. That's Amazon's perspective. So they're like, well, end of the day, we're going to make the money. So we don't really care. If you don't want to price lower, oh well, here's your competitor right beside you, ready to price lower.
Reminds me I need to buy more BioSteel. I'm almost out.
Yeah. Oh, nice. All right. We're becoming the fully unofficial. New Year question. I know you're not financial experts. Is Amazon still a good buy in your personal opinions? Are we allowed to talk about that with the FTC coming down on us?
I'm just going to hold.
Okay. So with the incoming Trump administration, they've made the announcement just this last week that they're replacing Lena Khan at the FTC, which I think is why Amazon stock went up like 4 or 5% in a week, is because now they're like, well, all those lawsuits from the FTC might suddenly go away soon. So
is she from Amazon? Is she from Amazon or something? What's the connection with that particular person?
She's the current head of the FTC, and she's been very anti-Amazon and trying to go after them for a lot of these policies that are suspected to be anti-consumer and things like that. And so the thought process is with her gone, there's a lot less heat on Amazon from the FTC. That said, their stock's gone up a lot in the last month, 2 months. I don't know if it's a great buy anymore. It might be time to sell. I don't know. It's a little sketch. It's pretty high up. It's doing like really well. And now I'm like, is there room for it to go higher? I don't know. We just got to see how tariffs play out too, I guess, right? Like that could be a huge ecosystem shock if it goes through as planned. So I think, yeah, definitely maybe wait for, see how that gets digested.
Yeah. Buy a few options for insurance purposes,
Nice.
Not financial advice.
Okay. I'm just all in on Bitcoin and Ripple right now. So let's go. All right. Let's Happy New Year. And I look forward to talking with you guys again soon.
Awesome. Happy New Year.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you're not getting the D2C newsletter, you can subscribe for free at directtoconsumer.co. And if you want to learn more about Pilot House's all-killer, no-filler services, take off to pilothouse.co. I'm Eric Dick, and this has been the D2C Podcast. We'll see you next time.